Predacons have a reputation in the fandom as being the ultimate warriors, super strong and super resilient, impossible to take down. Able to become big fire-breathing dragon robots, it just seems obvious that no one can stand against them. In the show Transformers Prime, Predaking is shown to be the strongest of the 3 Predacons, quickly pinning them down once he is in beast mode. We also see Predaking defeat Optimus in battle and overpower Megatron with his strength, until Starscream shot him in the back with a powerful missile. The only one able to take him down was Unicron possessing Megatron's body, a god. But do you have to be a god to take down a Predacon? Let's analyze Predacons. Why do we think Predacons are incredibly powerful? They do get damaged, and I will show the instances that they get hurt. But the main reason we leave the show saying that Predaking is so powerful is because he says that he is. Predaking constantly speaks of the great strength of Predacon kind, and after downing Optimus, boasts that he never stood a chance against him. What is true is that Predaking is stronger than Optimus, but Predaking is a character that believes no one can beat him, and that, I don't think we should just believe it because he claims it. Instead of trying to think of someone just as big and strong that can beat a Predacon to a pulp, we should realize the weaknesses of Predacons and who can exploit them. Predaking may not realize it, but fights can be won by weaker opponents if they possess enough skill. I will just quickly mention some honorable opponents because Predaking boasts so much while being ignorant. He does not know of combiners. If he saw the components of Devastator, Bruticus, or Superion, his arrogance would make him scoff at the smaller bots, until they combined and gave him a shock. I know the line continuity doesn't do mass change. When bots get bigger or smaller, it is because their metal allows flexibility to stretch out or shrink. It really would be those 5 bots pitting their weight and strength against Predaking. No, I don't think he has that amount of strength packed in all those joints. On an individual level, a large bot like Omega Supreme has size and incredible blasters that could put Predaking's fire to shame. He could definitely crush more than 1 Predacon in a fight. But alright, what are the real Predacon strengths and weaknesses? To break that down, we have to talk about their physiology. You've heard characters saying that Predaking is stronger in his beast form, but why is that if mass change is not happening? It is the same body parts and same weight. Beast form capabilities. Predacons are extremely compact in bot form. When Predacons transform, they will feel an increase in range of movement. In beast form, they'll be faster and more agile. They unlock fire-breathing capabilities. They have razor-sharp knives as claws, snapping teeth and beaks to rip apart their opponents. Some Predacons have lashing tails with blades or blunt instruments at their ends, and many Predacons can also fly. That is a lot of abilities their bot bodies do not have. And I'll consider that Predacons breathe fire that damages others, but does not melt their own mouths and throats. If Skylynx's head is here, the fire is blazing just below his brain with no consequences. It is likely because Predacons have metal extra resistant to heat, so they don't hurt themselves. In that case, Predacons in both beast and bot form have resilience to heat, and this could answer why Predacons hardly react to being hit by blaster fire. What hurts a common bot only irritates a Predacon. Only a very powerful blaster like Megatron's has the ability to burn through Predacon metal skin. Beast form, weaknesses. How could such a form have weaknesses after that list of abilities? There are actually flaws that can be taken advantage of. When a Predacon is in beast form, their metal is stretched out more than in bot form, therefore making the metal thinner. In theory, it would be easier to slice or stab. That's right, the Autobots were going at it all wrong. They should be cutting him with their blades. And what better spots to target them than the big fat, unprotected joints that Predacons have? They're basically yellow targets. Put one of Wheeljack's swords right through the elbow, and that could seriously hurt him. Another thing is that Predacons are quite hollow. Spaces are opened up inside them when they stretch out like that. After piercing the outer layer, it could be relatively easy to reach their inner frames or organs. And plating, such as Predacon necks and tails, are not secure. The plates are attached to each other more loosely than, say, Predaking's forearm to his upper arm. The tops of their necks and tails are heavily armored, but if one were to stab or slice on the underside, the Predacon could get a serious rip. A strong bot could possibly sever Predaking's head from his body if they took out his neck. Imagine if Megatron fired his blaster under this point. Predacon wings are also quite rippable and are a weakness. They are thin, and Predaking's wings are made of a flexible material. If he expanded them, taking a blade to them and shredding them could also give him pain. Predacons with exposed wing joints are also in a lot of trouble. All it would take was 2 swords into these joints to ground Skylynx. Bot form capabilities. So the bot form is quite restricting, except it has one main strength. A Predacon in bot form is extremely compact and well armored. With the heat-resistant advantage, small blaster shots cause no pain and have no chance of penetrating them and hitting anything important. A powerful blaster like Megatron's, because of the layering, could only burn through some layers, but not blow out Predaking's spark. Predaking's joints, but not his brethren's, are covered. In bot form, he no longer has a weakness to slicing and stabbing. Wheeljack's swords, when thrown, could not penetrate deep enough to cause Predaking pain, although they might have when not all his metal was layered like that. Arcee going nuts over blades won't be able to break through to his innards. Predacons stand like brick walls. They're just as heavy as they are in beast form. They can still scratch you with their claws, but they will be more likely to pound you flat. And with Predaking at least, we can see a very damaging blaster he can pull from his arm. It is very powerful and compact, maybe just as powerful as Megatron's. It blows VEHICONs apart, showing the huge difference between what he can do to a VEHICON versus what a little Autobot can do. Bot form weaknesses. They would just prefer the comfort of being in beast form and getting all those extra abilities. In beast form, they could just as easily fly over their enemies and burn them. They can charge and bowl over multiple targets with their size. Bot form is just limiting, but it isn't weak. If you are a little bot, there's not much you can do. But if you're going to stab the big yellow joints of a beast form, you'd want to find similar targets on your Predacon. Darksteel and Skylynx's joints are more compact in bot form, but they are worth a shot. When in doubt, always go for the eyes. The eyes are everyone's weak spot, ask Shockwave. In bot form, the face is the least armored spot. Stabbing or shooting a Predacon in their eyes will hurt them, but it won't kill them. If you are unable to be fast or strong enough to stab the Predacon in the head next, you have no chance of winning and need to run. Now that covered, let's talk about which characters in the show actually have a chance at defeating a Predacon. Maybe Megatron and Optimus weren't the best for the job. Let's talk about the heavies. I don't want to count them out just yet. Maybe Predaking has a high pain tolerance, but Predacons do in fact get hurt by blows. Ultra Magnus. Why did Ultra Magnus lose his fight with Skylynx? Ultra Magnus goes hand to hand in fights against Predacons 3 times in the show. The first time, Ultra Magnus hits Predaking with his hammer so hard that it throws Predaking off his feet. We need to realize that just because bots are not Predacons, doesn't mean they aren't strong. Ultra Magnus packs a lot of strength. He can deal with the weight of a Predacon. He doesn't realize it, but his hits are most effective against them, and any shooting is just a waste of energy. Ultra Magnus then had to face Predaking in bot form, the compact form that could take a long beating. He and Wheeljack were unable to damage him seriously. So maybe Ultra Magnus is simply unable to defeat Predaking, but I do think he's able to defeat Skylynx. See, Ultra Magnus with one hand was winning against the Predacon. He could take Skylynx's hits, and his punches were so much that they hurt Skylynx. Ultra Magnus was even able to take the Predacon out of the sky. Now the reason Ultra Magnus lost was because of this moment here. He saw Smokescreen in grave danger, ignored Skylynx, and directed his attention on helping him. That is when Skylynx bites into him. We don't get to see everything that happens to Ultra Magnus next, and blood is not always shown in the show when it is there. We do get a quick look at what is really hurting Ultra Magnus: internal injuries. It is completely unfair to say that Ultra Magnus can't go against a Predacon when he had been knocking Skylynx senseless with one working hand. Now Bulkhead or even Breakdown might not be able to do such a thing. They have some strength, but they aren't known as agile or skilled characters. As big round targets, Predacons might find it easy to grab onto them and sink their claws or teeth in. Predaking can recover from a hit to the head from Bulkhead, but they might have a better chance against the other Predacons. One disadvantage for them is their bot form is the least compact of their forms. The armor of Bulkhead is stretched out in this form and easier to pierce. Dreadwing and Skyquake stand a better chance, but Dreadwing more than Skyquake. All Seekers have an advantage. They can fly faster than Predacons and they are more nimble. However, if their blasters can't hurt the Predacons, they won't be able to down them. A Seeker realistically just has the ability to escape Predacons. However, Dreadwing has a scary blaster able to blast through entire bodies. His blaster and his sword could do damage to Predaking's bot form, especially to his beast form. If Dreadwing planned how he would attack, charging at a Predacon in jet form, and using his weapons accurately, he may be able to take one down. Megatron had a good chance against Predaking, surprisingly, in beast form. Against Predaking's tank bot form in a small hallway, Megatron didn't have much of a chance. His sword slices could not damage him, and Predaking could grab onto his hands and arms to prevent him from stabbing and blasting properly. Megatron had not yet been seriously injured, and he did have strength to resist the weight of the Predacon, but not enough. The battle may have been drawn out until Megatron grew too tired resisting the armored Predacon. We have seen Megatron defeat larger targets before, such as in this image, and with combiners such as Superion and Exiles. If given the opportunity, maybe Megatron could have figured out Predaking's beast form weaknesses and landed a fatal blow on the neck. However, Megatron simply might not be agile enough to deal with Predaking with his full range of motion. I believe it is the most agile characters that will do the best against Predacons in beast form. Shockwave has a good blaster, likely a single good punching hand, but unfortunately lacks agility. He may hurt a Predacon, but unless he gets shots in their face, they will defeat him, and he is too slow to be able to outrun them. The middle bots will have the worst time. Bots like Bumblebee, Smokescreen, and Knockout do not have the strength, agility, or skill to beat Predacons. Knockout would be too scared to even try. Wheeljack's only advantage is his swords, but without them, he does not have the ability to hit or blast Predacons in a way that matters. His grenades are not very effective. Fortunately for these cars, they can drive faster than a Predacon can run. If they can find cover, they can escape them as long as they are not in the open, where a Predacon can simply fly after them. Soundwave stands out for his electric powers. Soundwave was not strong, and is rather brittle in design, and if he is not agile enough, a Predacon could take him down in one hit. We know Shocking hurts Predacons, especially Skylings and Darksteel. The rod is able to stop them from charging Starscream, but for a tough character like Predaking, it is more of an annoyance. Soundwave's tentacles can lock on and give a constant shock. He may be able to take a Predacon by surprise and cling to their backs, putting them down but not killing them. However, I doubt they would let it happen. Being attached to them brings him close, and a raging Predacon might pull him in and bite off his arms. Laserbeak is too weak and would get eaten up, torn in half, or burnt to a crisp. The characters that have the best chance at killing a Predacon will surprise you because they are also very fragile characters. That means they can only win if they avoid being hit, otherwise, it is over very fast. The characters I believe who have the highest chance are the most agile of the show: Starscream, Arcee, and Airachnid. Now of course Starscream is much too afraid of Predacons to attempt to fight one. He would freeze up. But if Starscream had confidence, he could be deadly. Starscream has great bodily awareness, able to jump and spin around and avoid hits better than any other character in the show. Even Arcee and Airachnid can get shot down because they dodge more erratically. Arcee flips around as a strategy, but is more about luck and confuses whoever is shooting at her. Starscream is truly aware of where the blows are coming from. He comes with 2 blasters that are confirmed to cause Predaking pain and incapacitate him. Starscream also has the necessary blades I was talking about that can hit Predacon weak spots. Starscream would do worse against Predaking in bot form because of the armor, but he can fire at and scratch Predaking's eyes. In beast form, Predacons allow all the small agile characters the opportunity to use their parts to climb all over them. Starscream can also hover and perform tricks in the air. He could strike and retreat fast, using his missiles or scratching Predacons bit by bit. How might these weaker characters win? Simply by either stabbing into their heads or making the Predacons bleed to death. Arcee's blades would be more effective than Starscream's, and half his size, a Predacon would have a hard time grabbing hold of her. Arcee would be fast and able to use a Predacon's body like bars to grab onto and swing off. She could slash joints and eyes, and as long as she had endurance and didn't get hit, she could open up so many little wounds that the Predacon would grow weaker. This is a lot of work though, and if a Predacon claw snagged her, she would be killed instantly. Same goes for Starscream. Against the Predacon bot form however, Arcee does not have a chance at winning. Since the armor is too thick and she can't climb over them, she can't evade the Predacon and do constant damage. If she jumps at the Predacon, they'll be able to pluck her off their body. None of these characters have a chance at killing a Predacon in bot form unless they slice up the face. Now the real one who I believe who has the best chance of defeating Predacon is in fact Airachnid, an account of her sticky webbing. Once again, she would have to avoid being hit. If Ultra Magnus has a high health bar, these last characters have very little ones. But Arachnid's webs are hard to remove. No matter how strong you are, they're just so sticky. Airachnid can also transform to briefly hover, but her other best ability is her sticky legs. Airachnid can walk on any surface, be it walls or Predacons. Her legs also pack a powerful force, able to stab through big bots. Airachnid, despite her size, ripped Breakdown into tiny pieces. A Predacon in beast form could be killed by her lethal legs if she's struck in the right place, in the head, neck, or chest perhaps. She can take out Predacon wing joints and regular joints. By first using her webbing, she can hit their faces to remove their teeth and fire. She can glue their claws together. In the time the Predacon struggles to remove the webbing, she can attack them with her stabbing tools. It is another advantage that Airachnid secretes toxins. Her acidic spit might hit an unsuspecting eyeball, or her acid-dripping claws can dig in and sizzle. Airachnid may not be able to outfly a Predacon, but she can produce quite a lot of webs and take the fight to them. What would a Predacon do if she webbed their wing joints high up in the sky? They can't reach their own backs. They would fall and get injured on impact. If you played a Transformers Prime Wii game, I will tell you for a fact that Airachnid is the best character to play as. The webbing is so powerful and annoying to play against. She's agile, can spring out of the way and off all the walls, scamper over the Predacons and stab them to death while they struggle to free their mouths. Of course, with huge metal dragons running at you, the character is not going to be able to think of all these advantages. Even Airachnid might just web a Predacon's mouth and run while she can, because they don't look like they can be killed. Airachnid may not want to mess up, get too close, and be torn in half by one blow. Arcee might fall on her instincts to blast and do no harm. Starscream will just curl up and beg for mercy, or fly faster than the speed of sound to escape. A bot could only win if they knew exactly what to do and had a lot of courage. A regular Cybertronian is almost instinctively afraid of Predacons. These big bad beasts are a race of ancient carnivores, and to avoid the possibility of being eaten, most Cybertronians would avoid getting near them or pissing them off. Optimus, Megatron, Ultra Magnus, and Dreadwing, with their unwavering courage, could likely kill a Predacon weaker than Predaking in their beast forms. Bot forms, I'm not sure if anyone could do it. Even Airachnid would have a harder time unless she webs the face, then charged in to stab the face while they were blinded. When it comes to bot forms, I would just say hit the eyes, and either go all in or run like hell. Fortunately, Predacons firmly believe their beast forms are better. They will unlock all their abilities, but leave themselves vulnerable with thinner armor and exposed joints.